Old Man Stories. Is that the universe out there, or is that snow?
Here's the thing about the road of life. The road of life is like a sign if you want to go in a direction, go to a destination for a reason. And living out here in California, one of the things that I do not miss at all is snow. You may remember that in a previous Stories episode, I told a story about the driver's test and the contrast between taking the driver's test in the snow and failing it, taking it during the hot summer and passing it with the benefit of air conditioning. This particular story is about voluntarily visiting snow because master storyteller Laura Davis is a big Illinois snow bunny. I think that's the right term.
Yes, I call it snow idiot, but it's the same thing.
She prefers to play around in snow, and she misses it living out here in California. So I resolved for her birthday one year to say, okay, we're going to go visit snow. We packed everything into the car, figuring that driving up high enough along the snow line, we would encounter little itty bits of snow. A little bit on the ground, just enough to pick up and toss around, and maybe that'd be about it. For her birthday, this is when we decided to go. In December, when we left San Jose, it was fairly warm. As we got higher up into the mountains, it got definitely colder and colder, and finally we started seeing frost in the ground. This is a good sign, but there wasn't really anything resembling snow other than these little dried out black and icky ice patches on the ground. It reminded me of my time in New York where it would snow and then the plows would clear the roads just so people could get to work and back, and you'd spend the next couple of weeks dealing with black ice and the other kind of snow that you would certainly not want to pick up and eat or throw around. And of course, there's also slush. Fortunately, so far, there was no sign of slush, and there was no sign of, shall we say, dogs being around the snow. We get to the place we're staying, stay the night, wake up the next morning, open the door, and the outside of the place is white, completely white. And we think, oh look, we've been snowed in. We didn't actually get enough supplies to cook in yet, so we had to brave the snow to go to the supermarket. It's kind of a prepared tip. If you think there's going to be a major storm in the area, and you laugh at people who say go to Walmart or whatever to pick up tornado or hurricane supplies, don't laugh, because sometimes it'll happen to you, and if you're not prepared, you will not be laughing at all. But that's a different story. The point here of the story is that we decided to drive up further once we got the four-wheel drive car out, and drove up to where the ski area is. And there was a spot that Laura decided we're going to stop and get out of the car. Why here? She said, I like the snow here. She climbed into the car, walks out to where she could see the valley, and sinks in up to her hip. That snow is pretty darn deep. And because I liked seeing her playing in the snow, I took out my camera and recorded her playing in the snow. She even picked up some of the snow and ate it, because there were no footprints and no evidence anyone had even been there. And she was guaranteed to have clean snow, because it had snowed the night before. Why is this important, you might ask? Because for the body of the story, the next year we went back to the same place and drove up to the same mountain area on the same mountain road. And she said, you know, without the snow it looks really different. I said, okay, here's the contest. Let's find the place where you stood in the snow and almost sank in. And she said, great. I said, I kind of remember where it was because we knew approximately how far we drove. And we finally found the spot with the same trees that I remember taking pictures of, with the little icicles dripping off of them and everything. And it looked completely different. There had been so much snow in the area that a giant-sized boulder that was the size of a Volkswagen was completely covered in snow. And the only reason she had fallen through the snow where she did was because she had walked over the top of the boulder and off the far side of it. And I took a picture of her standing on top of that boulder. It's a study in contrast. You never know what's going to happen when it comes to snow, how dangerous it can be. Thank you.
Old Man Stories returning home, hopefully out of the snow into Hawaii.